found some tracks. Here's one, here's another one. Judging by the looks of it, it's a big one, definitely a male, definitely a mature male. Here's another track. Hi, George, how you doing?
Coming up, new novelties in the gardening world, non-toxic ways to keep critters away, a cosmic-looking bug trap, and spray oils to cure almost anything. Plus, tips to a flawless lawn without chemicals. Next. Time now for a look at what's new in the world of gardening. And first up is a product aimed at getting rid of rats, mice, moles, voles, even shrews. I always thought you could tame shrews. It's a powdered product with a rather curious and rather strong scent. And its scent is derived from fox and bobcat urine. This stuff creates the illusion that those two predators are in the vicinity, and it scares the dickens out of little rodents without actually harming them. To use, you simply shake the powder down mole or vole holes, or around the perimeter of your garden or home, or even in storage sheds. And faster than you can say, let's make a run for it, the rodents make a run for it. Hey, you'd flee in terror too if you thought a fox or a bobcat was on your tail. Oh, and by the way, this stuff is 100% all natural, so it's safe for use around plants, pets, and people. This next item isn't a spaceship, it's a trap. One that works on 25 different caterpillars that prey on plants. Under canopy of darkness, adult female moths invade your garden and lay their eggs, anywhere from 200 to 2,000 per moth. Within days, the eggs hatch, and out come the caterpillars to prey and munch on all your plant's leaves and stems. So why am I whispering? But this device traps the moths before they have a chance to lay eggs, thereby ending the destructive cycle. And it works by way of a battery-operated light that attracts the moths, and two chemical attractants as well that lure the moths into the trapping chamber below. Now, the yellow attractant is especially effective against moths that produce corn earworms and cabbage loopers, among others. And the green attractant is effective against moths that produce armyworms and cutworms, plus at least a dozen more. And incredibly, it comes with batteries! Placed on a stake such that the trap is at least 10 inches off the ground, the attractants work for about 60 days, and refills are available. Okay, we've looked at ways to get rid of rodents and destructive caterpillars. So what's next? Well, how about grasshoppers? After all, they can be extremely destructive and chew plants down to the ground faster than you can say, "Go away, grasshoppers." Now, thankfully, I've never had a serious problem with grasshoppers here at my place. But I've talked to plenty of gardeners whose gardens and landscapes are plagued by them, and they tell me that the most natural way to get rid of them is with a natural pathogen. Over 1 billion viable spores of this pathogen are in this 1-pound canister, scattered about in these bran flakes, and 1 pound treats an entire acre. When a grasshopper eats the bran, he becomes infected, and the spores replicate inside his body. He's then eaten by a healthy grasshopper, who also becomes infected, and in no time at all, the entire grasshopper population, or the bulk of it anyway, is wiped out. Although natural, this stuff can irritate eyes and lungs, so wear protective goggles and a mask when applying it. A number of oils are used to control various pest and disease problems in the garden, including neem oil, which is perhaps my favorite, highly refined horticultural oil, garlic oil, even citrus-based oils. Well, guess what, gang? Here's one more. It's canola oil. And it does a great job of destroying a number of insects, especially soft-bodied ones such as aphids, mites, and scale. Canola oil should never be used when temperatures are above 90 or below 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And it should never, ever, 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 ever be used on blue-colored evergreens. Why? Well, because it'll strip away their blue color, that's why. Speaking of oils, here's an all-natural herbicide that uses clove oil as its active ingredient, combined with a little bit of soap, some vinegar, a touch of citric acid, and some mineral oil to literally burn weeds right where they grow. This ready-to-use spray is non-selective, meaning it'll destroy anything green. So make sure you don't accidentally spray it on ornamental plants. And tough perennial weeds, especially grassy ones, may require a second spraying a week later. Still, this is a pretty doggone effective all-natural herbicide. Just try not to get any of it on your skin or in your eyes, and don't swallow it. Sphagnum moss, which is harvested from bogs throughout the world, is used in a number of different ways by gardeners and florists. Has been for decades. And I used to think that all sphagnum mosses were the same. But this one from New Zealand, called angel moss, is definitely different. Sure, it has the same water-holding capacity as other sphagnum mosses, and it plumps up quickly when saturated. But it's a lot cleaner than other sphagnum mosses, and it's prettier. Here, for example, is a handful of run-of-the-mill sphagnum moss, and here's the angel moss. Now, you may not think that a prettier sphagnum moss is such a big deal, but I do. After all, I use a lot of it for everything from lining hanging baskets to mulching container plants, especially those that need steady soil moisture or merely a nice finishing touch. It's interesting how so many so-called new gardening practices, such as the use of various oils or animal scents, are actually based on practices that are decades, even centuries old. Just goes to show you that even within the world of gardening, everything old is new again. You've got lawn problems? I've got solutions. And magnolias aren't just for mild climates anymore.
HGTV Challenge tip number 22. Your carpenter's time is valuable.
Yes.
A minute?
No.
Okay.
Is your summer endless? Is it filled with lasting color and inspiration? You could travel the globe to find it, or discover it in your own backyard with the Endless Summer Collection. Remarkable hydrangeas that bloom all summer long. Unique plants, unique blooms. Voila! Unique garden. You don't need crazy gardening superpowers or an endless amount of time. All you need is endless summer. Look for the blue pots at a garden center near you.
Summers are great, but kids can lose 2.5 months worth of what they learned in school. Don't let them fall behind. Call Sylvan at 1-800-EDUCATE. Sylvan builds lasting skills, habits, and attitudes for lifelong success.
In just 3 hours a week, over 12 weeks, you will see results in your child's reading or math performance, improving 1 grade level, guaranteed.
To learn how Sylvan helps your child succeed in school and in life, call now for this free introductory DVD. Call Sylvan at 1-800-EDUCATE.
Day in, day out. Your employees give everything they've got. And because your company wouldn't be your company without them, you provide Unum Benefits. Unum Benefits help protect your employees should the unexpected happen. Because you want to be there for them, just like they are for you. Unum. Better benefits at work.
I had a customer come in and she was looking for a gift for her husband for Father's Day. He was big on music, he loves to host parties and loves to be outside on the grill. Right now what he uses is this old boombox. That's when I said, Insignia Rock speakers. They look like rocks. You can put them anywhere. They sound great, all weather. They blend in. Don't tell him about it. Just hide the boombox from him. Father's Day, he was outside, he starts barbecuing, and all of a sudden they turn on the music and he's like, where's all this coming from? From those little rocks.
Tonight, it's down to the final 3 families in the hunt for $250,000. The heat is on.
This looks really bad.
As teamwork becomes the first victim of rising tempers.
What'd you call me? A brat.
And for one family, the hope for a dream kitchen fades when they discover what lies beneath.
There's a big hole in the floor.
HGTV's $250,000 challenge. Every family wins. One family wins big. An all-new episode tonight at 10/9 Central on HGTV.
Incredibly, there are over 400 species of fungi that inhabit lawns. And of those, nearly 100 are potentially harmful. I say potentially because many fungal diseases are seasonal and don't actually do any permanent damage to lawns. But there are those that can quickly turn an otherwise green and vibrant lawn into a brown, decaying, ugly patch of... well, you get the idea. But diagnosing fungal diseases in the lawn can be extremely tricky because symptoms range from rust to mold, to mildew, to mushrooms, to brown spots of all kinds. So rather than focus on diagnosing fungal diseases, I'm instead going to focus on prevention, an ounce of which is, after all, worth a pound of cure. And an emphasis on prevention makes more sense anyway, when you realize that once a fungal disease is present in the lawn, it can be very difficult to control. So with prevention in mind, the first thing you want to do is have your soil tested, because then and only then can you rule out such things as nutrient deficiencies and problems with pH. With a clean trowel or large spoon, preferably made of stainless steel, take samples of dry soil in the lawn to a depth of about 4 inches. Take at least 4 or 5 samples at various locations and combine them in a clean, unused plastic bag with an airtight seal. You can then take the soil sample to a nearby master gardener or cooperative extension office, or to a nursery that offers soil sampling services. Fees for basic services are typically less than $10, and in some cases, they're actually free. If the test results indicate a nutrient deficiency, say of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, or even iron, take the steps necessary to correct it using an all-natural fertilizer. If pH is a problem, increase it using agricultural limestone or decrease it with sulfur, both according to package instructions. Next, test for adequate drainage. Dig a few holes in the lawn, roughly 6 inches deep, fill the holes with water, and monitor the time it takes for the water to drain from the holes. Poor drainage can invite all kinds of fungal diseases, so unless the water has drained from the hole within an hour, chances are you've got a drainage problem. And correcting it may require any number of different approaches, from simple aeration and the addition of compost to a full-blown French drain. And speaking of water, grasses that remain moist, especially overnight, are extremely susceptible to fungal diseases. So water early in the morning so that grass blades have a chance to dry out during the day. Even the seemingly simple act of mowing the lawn, if done improperly, can set the stage for fungal diseases. So first and foremost, make sure your mower blade is sharp. Dull blades leave ragged cuts that are an easy invasion site for fungal spores. Keep the grass mowed high, at least 2.5 inches high. Turf grasses that are cut short show a definite increase in fungal diseases. And if you have a service mow your lawn, make sure they disinfect the underside of the mower with a solution containing 1 part bleach to 9 parts water. This simple step will destroy any fungal spores that may have hitched a ride from the previous lawn. Routine aeration, say once or twice a year, will also help prevent fungal diseases. The same is true of dethatching, since many fungal organisms colonize in thatch. And finally, avoid the use of synthetic fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides, even fungicides, believe it or not, because all are potentially toxic to soil organisms, including earthworms. And very often it's those very organisms that are the first line of defense against fungal diseases. Realize too that a number of insects can cause damage to lawns, especially grubs, and the damage they cause can mimic the damage caused by fungal disease. In areas of your lawn that appear damaged, you need to verify that the damage isn't the result of insect attack. That may mean going ahead and digging up a little section of turf to see if there are any grubs or moles lurking below the soil level. That'll help you avoid a wild goose chase. Now, in this case, I know the exact cause of the problem here. You see, it's called Maggie and Lucky. Okay, so what if, despite your best efforts to prevent fungal diseases from attacking your lawn, you suspect that your lawn has nevertheless been invaded? What then? Well, once again, you need to prepare a sample. Cut a section of diseased turf roughly 8 inches square and include about 2 inches of soil. Wrap the sample in some newspaper and place it in a box for mailing. Include in the box a note with as much information as possible. Date collected, type of turf grass, overall symptoms, anything and everything you can think of that'll help the pathologist make a diagnosis. And again, take or mail the sample to a master gardener or cooperative extension office. And here's a very important tip. Mail the sample on a Monday so the box doesn't sit around unopened all weekend at the post office or the lab. You see, when it comes to diagnosing fungal diseases, fresher is better. If the news comes back indicating that you do indeed have a fungal disease in your lawn, don't panic. Instead, either use the type of product recommended by the lab, although I'll tell you right now it'll almost certainly be a synthetic control, or consider any number of different all-natural strategies. Compost, for example, spread over the infected area can be extremely effective in fighting fungal pathogens. Compost tea sprayed over the lawn works extremely well too. Neem oil is another knockout product, and it too has awesome antifungal properties. Fungicidal soaps work well too, and they're as easy to apply as that. And a solution containing either sodium or potassium bicarbonate, baking soda basically, mixed at the rate of 2 tablespoons per gallon of water will control a number of fungal diseases in the lawn. But as is the case with virtually all plant diseases, and many human ones as well, the best offense is a good defense. So take the time to develop a good, solid, healthy turf, and chances are you'll never have to deal with fungal diseases in your lawn. Up next, the Majestic Magnolia is sure to mesmerize you. And you'll want to give these palms a hand.
You want to know what I bring to the table?
Mike Aubrey has a real challenge.
I'm a winner, and I allow my clients to be winners too.
Overpriced homes, desperate homeowners.
That's out of the question.
Real estate intervention. Series premiere tonight at 11:10 Central on HGTV.
Californians love green grass, and Heavenly Greens is the perfect landscape solution. Less than the cost of real grass without the maintenance. Now enjoy the look and feel of natural grass with Heavenly Greens. Specially engineered for years of enjoyment, Heavenly Greens is the beautiful solution. Our patented hybrid fiber is strong, smooth, soft, and resilient. Turn your home into a backyard dream. Call Heavenly Greens today and put your lawnmower away.
Give your entertainment a boost with HBO from Comcast. For just $15 a month, you can experience blockbuster movies like The Dark Knight, premiering June 13th.
Here's my card.
And the highly acclaimed original series True Blood, returning June 14th. And with HBO On Demand, you can catch up on past episodes of your favorite series anytime you want. It's all yours, anytime, for just $15 a month. Call and get HBO today.
It's back, and it's beefed up. It's Applebee's 2 for $20 deal, now including real burgers. Get 1 appetizer, 2 entrees, and a real night out for just $20. 2 for $20 is back, only at Applebee's. It's a whole new neighborhood.
I'm active for endurance.
I'm active for strength. I'm active for me.
EA Sports Active for the week. Rated everyone.
She has this thing about bugs.
No. I do not have a thing about bugs. I have a thing about bugs in our house.
We used to call him Exterminator.
Oh, now I go Ortho. Home Defense Max. I use it once inside to kill the bugs.
Stops them dead.
Guaranteed. And outside to keep new ones from moving in. That's up to 12 months protection against bugs.
And 12 months of keeping our house to ourselves.
Until your mother comes.
Right. Ortho Home Defense Max.
Defend what's yours.
Excuse me? I think you're the father of one of my kids.
Oh. Cancun, spring break 99.
What?
No?
No.
Oh. Oops! Someone forgot to boost!
Excuse me? I think you're the father of one of my kids.
Oh, my daughter's in your art class. Sister Mary Catherine.
Yeah.
Minute Maid Enhanced with a 5 nutrient boost. Put good in, get good out.
How's your Magnolia mojo? The gorgeous, showy flowers may be the lure, but the essence of magnolias has a way of speaking to the heart. In fact, the magnificence of magnolias has been known to cause folks to wax poetic in song, film, and poetry. And now to sing the praises of the Magnolia family, meet Sean Hogan from Portland, Oregon.
The Magnolia family is one of the oldest flowering plant families.
When you hear the word magnolia, you may, depending on where you live, immediately think of a deciduous tree with pink flowers or an evergreen with white flowers. But no matter, and no wonder members of this ancient genus are prized around the world.
They've been found in fossils over 100 million years old. We didn't know whether they were pink ones, though. With a plant like this, who needs flowers?
Truth be known, Sean Hogan is tickled pink over magnolias, but he favors many of the less commonly planted yet equally fetching varieties that offer bang beyond the bloom.
There are dozens and dozens of different types. So you've got all kinds of flower colors, but you've got all kinds of leaf textures also. So they're not just for a month in the spring.
Now, depending on your horticultural leanings, this Michaelia or Michelia may or may not be a magnolia, in which case it could be described as a close relative. For Sean, the whole debate is akin to tomato. But there's no debate about one botanical difference. Michaelias produce lots more flowers.
The main difference is that, unlike magnolias, where you just get one bud at the very end of the branch, you get all along last season's growth, so you have a much longer flowering season.
So when the last petal falls off the deciduous magnolia in spring, there's still lots growing on most varieties of the often evergreen, often fragrant Michelia. There are other differences too. Many magnolia varieties do well in warmer climates where late frosts can decimate the blooms. For climatically marginal areas, Michelias may offer a beautiful solution.
With Michelias, not only are they evergreen, so you get that winter interest, and some of them are hardy to as much as about 10 below zero, which is nice for colder areas. You've got shades of white to pink, and sometimes almost red, and there's even one that's burgundy, which is kind of nice.
If you have your heart set on a more traditional magnolia, see what's available at your local nursery or garden center. They'll generally have trees and shrubs that do well in your area. And since Sean lives in the Northwest, he may not be as familiar with what is perhaps the most stately tree of the South, Magnolia grandiflora, better known as the Southern Magnolia. Of course, if you live farther north, well, no problem. You're still in magnolia country.
You know, you really can't talk about magnolias without talking about these guys right here. This is Magnolia stellata. This guy and its close relative Magnolia cobus are the hardiest of any of them.
But hey, for all you militant magnolia marauders who have the will but not the weather, there's always Plan B.
You know, in places that are too cold to grow a lot of these things, and I would say that's anywhere below, say, zone 7, something like that, these things are great in containers. I thought we'd do a copper container.
Sean says that with containers, bigger is usually better. This copper brown will accentuate the underside of the magnolia or Michelia unionensis leaves.
We've put some soil in the bottom.
Planted or potted, magnolias like moist, fairly well-drained soil that's slightly acidic.
The soil's a nice mixture of pumice and of organic stuff that's been well rotted, so just a good all-purpose, fairly well-drained mix.
Minimize root disturbance for all magnolia trees and shrubs. They're finicky and often react to changes by shedding leaves.
We're going to put the nice part forward, and then we brought some plants to complement both the color of the flowers and the pot. This is a pittosporum.
Here's where the fun begins for Sean, finding colors, textures, and forms to set off the beauty of the Michelia.
This is a carex. It's a grass-like creature from New Zealand. This is a pseudopanax. It's an ivy relative from New Zealand, strangely enough. This is New Zealand flax, and this is one called tricolor. This is an Australian mintbush, Prostranthera. There we go.
When Sean has crammed every last plant possible into this container, he'll fill in the pockets and corners with soil. Afterward, he'll add a slow-release organic fertilizer such as cottonseed meal for a nice nitrogen boost. Containers allow for mobility, so if you expect to freeze, move the trees.
If this plant were in the garden, you'd want to give it a lot of space. This thing could get about 6 or 8 feet across and about as tall, so, you know, give it a decent spot. It's also good to plant things like snowdrops and other things underneath it, so you have that sort of, a little bit of distance in the garden.
One of the reasons magnolias have been around for millions of years is that they're relatively unaffected by pests and diseases. The thing that'll send them into a tailspin is not getting enough water. But when they shine, sweet magnolia, do they shine. It could be the bark, perhaps the leaves, the buds, the textures, or the blooms. There's so much to love about magnolias, and why not? They certainly are the pink of perfection.
Once you've tried the pink one, try some of the other types. Now, there's almost nothing you can't find. So try some of the evergreen ones, even if you have to do it in a pot, and I think you'll be really pleasantly surprised.
One more thing about magnolias, they don't like to be moved. So feel free to plant one in your landscape, but first, pick the perfect permanent spot. Whether you like fan or feather, next, I've gathered all the palms together.
We're taking green mainstream with the first ever HGTV Green Home with Kenmore Elite Energy Star appliances from Sears. This efficient kitchen does more than look cool. The induction cooktop works electromagnetically, so it also stays cool. And a high-efficiency dishwasher conserves water and energy, yet cleans like never before. To see more of the HGTV Green Home in Tradition, Hilton Head, South Carolina, visit hgtv.com for a 360 tour, courtesy of Sears.
I see the world through brand new eyes, receiving light, reflecting bright from the faces and the things I see. Oh, now I see.
Memorable should be affordable. That's our statement. So hurry to Sears Father's Day gift sale for unforgettable gifts throughout the store. Going on now. Sears. Life well spent.
Finally, good news for people with type 2 diabetes or at risk for diabetes. Introducing new Nutrisystem D, the clinically tested program for losing weight and reducing blood sugar.
Hi, I'm Mike, and I lost 100 pounds on Nutrisystem D. When I was first diagnosed with diabetes, that first step was more like a giant leap, till I discovered Nutrisystem D.
In a clinical study, people on Nutrisystem D lost 16 times more weight and reduced their blood sugar 5 times more than those on a hospital-directed plan. Plus, A1C was reduced 0.9%. Choose from over 140 menu options. There's no counting carbs, calories, or points.
I lost 100 pounds and lowered my blood sugar level. Nutrisystem D changed my life.
Mike is one of many who've lost weight and controlled their diabetes with new Nutrisystem D. Backed by 35 years of research and low glycemic index science, Nutrisystem D works. Satisfaction guarantee to your money back. New Nutrisystem D. Lose weight, live better. Call or click today.
Do you have a passion for decorating and design? Then you'll want to learn more about home staging. Training in this fun and rewarding industry starts now by enrolling at the Haverhill Institute of Staging.
When I started the course, I was actually very surprised at how much I learned.
Accreditation takes less than 4 weeks, and the best part is, after graduation, you may qualify for full or part-time employment.
My name is Sophie Drury, and I'm a Haverhill stager.
Start your career as a professional home stager. Call or visit our website today.
Once the weather warms up enough to pot up tropical plants on the porch or patio, or move them from the house to the great outdoors, I get started with my favorite plant group of all. Care to guess what it is? Well, I'll give you a hint. That's right, it's the palms. Probably should have washed my hands, huh? Here, for example, is a Pygmy date palm in a container. I adore its delicate foliage, and I like the way it stands up to the heat and humidity here in my neck of the woods. Here by the pool are several so-called Majesty palms. Their foliage is considerably coarser, but I like the way their leaves catch the wind and sway in the slightest breeze. And here's a lady palm, which doesn't look all that hot right now because she spent all winter indoors. But in no time, she'll bounce right back. And believe me, folks, there are dozens of other palms worthy of consideration, all of which fall into 2 basic categories, the fan palms and the feather palms. And to understand how they got their names, you need only look at their leaves. Because fan palms have leaves that do indeed resemble a fan, and feather palms have leaves that are arranged much like feathers. Regardless which palms you choose to grow, caring for them is pretty much the same across the board. Generally speaking, they all need warm temperatures, although a very few will tolerate temps below freezing, good soil, routine fertilization, I use fish emulsion, bright indirect light, and steady moisture. And interestingly, they also tend to do best when grown in deep pots. So if you're looking to add a touch of tropical paradise to your porch or patio, palms may be the perfect fit. And who knows, you may find you like them so much you'll be tempted to give them a hand. Well, that does it for today. But remember, if you'd like to learn more about anything you've seen on today's show, just log on to our website. I'm Paul James.